wondering why I'm doing, if I'm such a Flash fan, I'm such a Wally fan, I'm doing this set of episodes instead of doing one at a time, just doing them as a block. Two reasons. One, I just need to get something up this week just to keep me going. And two, I don't have a lot of time. I got to run to a wedding here in Fargo here pretty soon, so I gotta get going. So and I was excited for this one because I knew it was going to be a Flash centric story. Um, Joseph Kerr, I hope I'm saying his last name right. The guy who wrote Paradise Lost in the first season wrote this episode, and that Paradise Lost was one of the standouts of last season. So that excited me, and it's not bad, but it isn't what I was hoping for. I was hoping for. There's loads of good content and good commentary in it. A lot like Paradise Lost. I think it gets a bit lost, for lack of a better word. It has so many little threads that it's weaving out. It's talking about Hollywood and your well, it doesn't go right out and say right wing, but characters like it talks on the news, the pundits like your seems to be mostly going after people like Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck. Seems really Glenn Becky. Uh, in the character Gordon, whatever his last name, Gordon Ramsay. I don't know, Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, the the British chef. Yeah, uh, but that character seems really like Glenn Beck to me. I mean, he could be anybody, but it seems almost specifically Beckish in some of the things he says and the way he's going about his show. Um, and like I said, they have the Hollywood with the agent and the advertising and the role of that. But they went for jokey Flash, and most of the story it's still jokey Flash. But they'll stop. Like he's the one who stopped and listened to Mofir when everyone else thought he was just talking crazy. He's the one who was like, "Okay, I heard that phrase before. I'm gonna follow through." Um, they had him where he figures out how after the crystal is broken and they have fight, he figures out another way. And I like that they injure him, so they take speed out of the equation, which I love to see the Flash use his speed and use all the cool things he can do with that. But in this story, I think one of the goals was to show that he's more than just his speed. There is an intelligence, there is a quickness there, of the mind occasionally, instead of just the feet. So the nuggets of what I wanted to see are there, but then it's so interlaced with things that, with trying to keep the comedic tone of the Flash and that they have in this series, and just kind of keep that level. And it works. There's nothing wrong with it. I just think at points it feels a little forced. It feels like it's just keeping the jokes going rather than letting instead of it's heaping on the jokes instead of letting the jokes come to them. Be serious when you need to be serious and be jokey when you need to be jokey. Like one of the good balances they have this fire at this power plant, and they have the Flash. It has to go get water to put it out. Now he goes and he gets this water siphon typhoon thing, comes, puts it out, and he sees one little bit and he stamps it with his foot. That's good comedy. That's good pacing. But other stuff, it's just like when he goes on the pundits show. I mean, it's so by the book. get taken out by someone who's willing to twist the words. I mean, the comedy is not painful, but it's getting close. Uh, the Flash fan is ridiculous. In just the right way. But there's other little twinges and tweaks that just seem to be forcing the issue. You know, it's like, we're being funny. Like the ending tag with Mofir in the commercial, I was like, oh, why? Why would you do that? There's there's no reason. Cut the episode with him telling the agent no. That ending gag is terrible. One thing that I've noticed about Kerr's scripts is he finds the way to involve the entire Justice League. That's even if he has like one set. In this one, he really has like one set where it's one set of superheroes, and then he seems to focus more on the second set in the second episode. He introduces the rest of them, and they're all kind of there and they're interacting, which is really good. I really like that he finds a way. I don't know if he was mandated to, or it's just the way he wants to write. Is he wants to write the entire cast together, not just this little group or that little group, which it seems to be in a lot of the other episodes. No, he wants to get everybody bouncing off each other, have the whole team, chemistry going. Hot Girl is really stupid in this one. You see the idea coming a mile away, and I will give it credit. A lot of shows have this kind of thing where they just smash something, and there's no it's not like a possession stone or a possession thing. They never think. Do the other? This one is clever enough to go, hey, what about those shards? What if they got embedded in people? Which I've always kind of wondered with that stuff. I mean, this is a crystal. Crystal has shards. She's hitting it ridiculously forcefully. If nothing else, shoot the damn thing into space. You're in a space station. Get a pooper scooper or something. I don't know. 2 sticks. Pick it up. Get something to grab it and fling it out into space and throw it in the heart of the sun. Let the sun screw it up. That would be fitting justice, considering Eclipso. Apparently, in this version, I don't know crap about Eclipso. They're dragging out all the villains I know nothing about in these episodes a lot lately. I mean, it's stuff where I know of Eclipso, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you jack about Eclipso except she was in Countdown. Well, it's not really Eclipso's not really a gen. Countdown had Eclipso, and it was stupid, and they have the military general in costume. Kind of the traditional Eclipso, and they make it look as ridiculous as the Eclipso costume does, because it's damn ridiculous. And they play that up. But let's see, anything. It's really weird. I mean, man, this is something I wish. When it comes to portrayals of the military, they have this opening sequence with these special ops soldiers. They kind of have like a one-eye splinter cell. Why do they always have to give them weird uniforms or something? I mean, I know for the sake of animation and cost, they don't give them like BDUs or what would be ACUs now, the telex, the digital print ones. Never wore those. Got out right before that stuff. We actually used to mock them and call them pajamas. But so they go to kind of the World War style, just green fatigue and the strap. They always go back to World War II imagery for a lot of it. But then you have these special ops soldiers, and their helmets are a lot more like modern soldiers, or at least soldiers of the time. The helmets have went a little bit more back and higher up. There's a whole discussion about that. But they're wearing these tan things with black shoulder pad, like really big black shoulder pad kind of things. I don't know what they're supposed to be. It seems like some special ops unit, but it doesn't. Their uniform does not make sense to me. And then when it goes to the military scene, they know the generals, but then like they have Joe Blow MP sitting there, John Wayning it, and I understand, but can't we move the iconography of the military uh, past like Korea, Vietnam iconography? I mean, it really started in World War II where they had the imagery through Hollywood, but it kind of in terms of animation and in terms of a lot of things, it still has not grown past Vietnam era aesthetics and ideas. They might throw super science or mystical or whatever at it, but they really kind of are seeing that mentality. Film is starting to get it. Even post things like Three Kings like that. Uh, Syriana, political thrills where they're starting to move things into more where they are now in terms of combat and feeling, and shows like Homeland and stuff like that. I mean, it's not necessarily the military per se, but they have that angle, and I don't think we need to have. We almost need a post this now because everyone's moving now into the Middle Eastern centric when we should be moving past that. We should just let's not villainize the Middle East anymore. We had enough of that, and Hollywood's playing catch up, so we're still having that. But we need to get past that, but animation is even further behind. Like I'm saying, they're still doing like Vietnam era, John Wayne, old war movie kind of iconography, which is a complete tangent and has nothing to do with this episode, except that I always notice that. I mean, I don't expect complete accuracy. I'm not crazy. Uh, there's time, and of course, iconography always, especially in animation. If you can go with the iconic image, that gets a lot across, in a short amount of time. But I feel we can. I feel animators can do more there, and I wish they would. Uh, so overall, I like this episode. These two episodes, I think they're a little busy. And if you would have stripped one or two of the elements, uh, they have all kinds of points where it could be just a good story of that if they would just keep running with that. They could have just had, the Flash and his issues with the media and public perception. That would have been a great episode and a fascinating one and a really smart one. Or they could have just had the Eclipsed story. Or they could have just had or they could have just had a complete joke fest all the way through. But they chose to do it all in one, and there are a bunch of good ideas, but they don't connect right. It's kind of like duck, orange. uh, One of those things does not fit the pattern. So I guess that is it. See you in the next one.